Discover the incredible moment when a maid's touch revealed a life-changing smile after 12 years. Clara's heart raced as she dusted the Johnson family's opulent living room, filled with glass shelves showcasing trophies glittering like stars in the sky. This was a world that sparkled golden awards, framed accolades, and plush furniture that whispered of status. Yet, as the dust motes danced in the sunlight streaming through the windows, Clara felt like a ghost, unseen and unheard after 12 long years. Every scrub and sweep was a testament to her relentless work, all to keep a roof over her son Miles' head and chase the dream of sending him to college. Yet her own dreams of spiraling colors on canvas danced just out of reach. Each stroke her brush could make lingered in her mind like a sweet melody, but rarely did she find the time or space for it amidst laundry folds and glittering dishes. When the local charity announced a community art gala, hope flickered through her. It was a chance to lay her heart bare on canvas, to unveil her hidden talent, a glimpse into the creative spirit that lived within her. Clara's pulse quickened just thinking about it. But Mr. Johnson's casual dismissal of her art felt like a punch to the gut. Painting? It's just a hobby, he scoffed, his words cutting through the air. The weight of his disbelief sat heavy on her chest, darkening the sparkle of her dreams. Did he not see her? Did he not recognize the years of love and labor she poured into every corner of their home? She felt more invisible than ever, trapped beneath layers of economic inequality, cradling only the hope of a better life for Miles. Should she dare step into the light now, revealing her ambitions? The gala approached, and Clara wrestled with her doubts. The ghosts of the Johnsons echoed in her mind, casting shadows on her aspirations. Yet, beneath that doubt, a fire smoldered. She couldn't stay hidden any longer. This was about more than just her. It was for all the faceless, hard-working souls who deserved recognition and respect. The night of the gala arrived, electric with anticipation. Clara stood backstage, her heart pounding as laughter and chatter filled the hall. She held her paintbrush tightly, the crowd's excitement buzzing like a live wire. Suddenly, catastrophe struck. A power outage plunged the room into darkness. In that instant of chaos, Clara felt a pull, like an unseen hand, guiding her to step onto the stage. She stumbled forward, breath caught in her throat as phone lights flickered like fireflies, revealing her carefully crafted paintings for the first time. Gasps erupted, ripples of admiration sweeping across the audience. In that transformative moment, Clara found herself no longer encased in the shadows. The warm glow of connection enveloped her. The crowd resonated with her vision, and she felt a surge of fierce pride for the first time she was being seen. But amidst the joy, Clara's eyes locked onto Miles. His face reflected doubt, uncertainty flickering in his expressive eyes. Just then, she heard a familiar voice from the Johnson family, dripping with disbelief and tinged with regret. Clara's newfound glow flickered under the weight of their presence. Her heart raced, caught between elation and anxiety. Would this moment of triumph bring them together or unveil the fractures between their worlds? As Clara steadied her breath to address the crowd, silence swallowed the air. She stood on the brink of releasing not just her art, but an opportunity to transform her narrative, to claim her worth. Would she rise or fall? As she prepared to speak, the future tensed with possibility, leaving the audience and herself holding their breath in anticipation. Clara's heart thundered against her ribcage, each beat loud enough to drown out the whispers swirling in the air. This was her moment, yet it felt like standing on a tightrope with no safety net below. She glanced at Miles again. His expression was an emotional puzzle, and she desperately wished she could decipher it right then. Did he feel pride? Or was it fear? Clara. The voice came from a friend in the audience, Mary, her old neighbor from the apartment complex they had both escaped. Mary waved, her face illuminated by the glow of her phone, a beacon of encouragement in the dark. The sight anchored Clara, but it also reminded her of the life choices that had pulled them apart. Taking a deep breath, Clara spoke into the microphone, her voice wavering. I've been told that my art is just a hobby. But art is part of who I am. I've lived in the shadows, but tonight I want to share a piece of my heart with you. The room felt alive, the crowd hanging on her every word. With a flick of her wrist, she gestured toward her paintings, illuminated by the flickering lights. These are more than colors on canvas. They are my story, my struggle, my hope. Each stroke is a part of my journey, one that I share with so many of you. She could feel the shift in the atmosphere, a collective breath as they began to comprehend the depth of her words. The crowd, a mix of familiar faces and strangers, seemed to draw closer. A palpable connection formed, stretching out like tendrils of warmth reaching for her. She was no longer a ghost. She was present, alive. Then her gaze found Mr. Johnson again, his smirk replaced by a furrowed brow. His dismay was painted across his features, and for a brief moment, Clara saw the man behind the wealth. The layered shields of privilege began to crack, revealing a sliver of uncertainty, perhaps even regret. With that realization flickering in Clara's mind, a current of courage surged within her. But we all have dreams, she continued, addressing the silence that lingered with her heartfelt truth. Dreams that deserve to be seen, no matter who you are or where you come from. Every word was deliberate, each sentiment echoing her own reality, resonating in the hearts of others around her. Clara smiled at Miles, whose uncertainty began to dissolve under the weight of her resolve. She could see the corners of his mouth lift slightly, hope stirring in his deep brown eyes. It was the kind of gaze she had longed for, one that mirrored her own dreams in vivid color rather than muted shadows. "Let us lift each other up," she said, her voice gaining strength. "Let us dare to step into the light together." The murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, and Clara felt invincible. It was as if the darkness had dissolved permanently. She could finally breathe. As she stepped back, the applause erupted, a wave of support crashing over her. Cheers rang out, and for the first time, Clara felt complete acceptance. But joy was followed by a flicker of doubt. Would Mr. Johnson ever truly understand? Or would their lives remain forever divided by the invisible lines of their chosen worlds? The moment felt fragile, and Clara stood stunned amid the applause, daring to hope. Was this just a fairy tale fantasy or the beginning of a profound change? As the heat of the spotlight warmed her skin, she couldn't shake off the question looming in the air. What if revealing her art could transform the very fabric of their realities? What would it take to bridge that divide, her painted canvases or something deeper? With adrenaline coursing through her veins, she prepared to face not just the audience, but the life that awaited after this moment, a life that could redefine everything. As the applause finally began to fade, Clara stood on the stage, feeling the warmth of acceptance wrap around her like a comforting blanket. Her heart raced, still dancing with adrenaline. She hadn't just shared her art, she had shared her truth. Yet, the lingering doubt about Mr. Johnson gnawed at her. Would he see the beauty in it, or was he destined to remain in his own disconnected world? Suddenly, the lights dimmed further, and the spotlight shifted to reveal a group of local artists stepping forward onto the stage. Clara's breath hitched as she recognized some of them from the community art classes she'd attended. They had once been her silent allies in the shadows, their dreams merging with hers in whispered conversations over coffee. "Clara!" One of them, a woman with bright blue hair, called out. "Join us. We want to celebrate you." Clara's pulse quickened. They surrounded her. Overwhelmed by their activism, she felt her anxiety wash away. This was proof that she wasn't alone, even if it had taken her years to realize it. They were all dreamers, struggling against their own tides. As the collective energy built around her, each artist expressed how Clara's work had inspired them. One shared a story about how her bold strokes had reminded them of their own resilience in a battle against doubt. Another spoke of how her passion reignited their own love for creation. A warmth spread through Clara's chest. This was community, raw and unfettered. But just when the joy surged, Clara's eyes darted to the corner of the room where Mr. Johnson stood. Had he remained an observer, unaffected by the wave of emotion cascading throughout the venue? His arms were crossed, yet his expression grew increasingly complex, shadows of thought churning behind those sharp features. What was he thinking? Would he turn away, or would he dare to come forward and see her as she really was? I want to invite everyone to contribute something to this community. Clara found her voice, steady once more. Tonight, we're here not just to celebrate art, but to create a movement, to support each other's dreams. Let us not let socio-economic divides define who we are. The crowd erupted into cheers, and she felt her pulse synchronize with the heartbeat of those around her. For Clara, it was more than just a movement, it became a mission. Withdrawing from the spotlight, she approached the microphone again. Art has this incredible power, she said, passion igniting her words. It's a bridge between us. This is our chance to explore our stories, to tear down walls. I want to bring my vision of unity and hope to life. Will you help me? The crowd roared in agreement, voices melding into an uplifting chorus. Clara glanced back at the artists, feeling invincible in their shared purpose. But among the vibrant expressions, she noticed Mr. Johnson take a hesitant step forward. His brow furrowed, the uncertainty still clouding his eyes. Could he truly grasp what was happening? In that moment, Clara felt an odd mixture of fear and excitement. If he did understand, what might he bring to this burgeoning community? What could his wealth and influence accomplish if redirected to support those struggling to find their own voices? But suddenly, as if reading her thoughts, he pulled out his phone, and a flicker of hesitation swept over his face. Was he about to leave, or was he, perhaps, preparing to engage in a way Clara never expected? Her heart raced. This was a pivotal moment, an opportunity to confront the very divide that had haunted her for so long. What would happen if he chose to cross that invisible line? Would the barriers of their worlds begin to dissolve, or would he choose to walk away, leaving Clara and the entire community yearning for what could have been? The room buzzed with excitement, electric anticipation hung in the air like a tightly drawn bowstring. Clara's gaze was locked on Mr. Johnson, the intensity of the moment igniting a fire within her. Every heartbeat felt like a countdown. Would he take a step into the light, or retreat back into the shadows? The crowd cheered, yet Clara felt a thrum of anxiety course through her. What if he didn't relate to their journey? What if he could only see dollar signs instead of dreamers? A part of her wanted to reach out, to bridge the impersonality of wealth with the warmth of human connection. But how? As if sensing her inner turmoil, Mr. Johnson finally pocketed his phone. With a deep breath, he stepped forward, a hint of determination emerging in his posture. Clara's heart surged. Was this it? Was this the moment they could transcend their differences? "Excuse me," he called out, his voice clear but hesitant. The crowd fell silent, and all eyes turned to him. Clara's breath hitched. She could see the uncertainty settled around him like a heavy cloak. "I don't know much about art," but his brow furrowed, and he blinked, as if wrestling with his thoughts. "I do know about responsibility. I'd like to help." A wave of collective gasps echoed in the room. Clara felt a rush of emotions: hope, disbelief, and a bittersweet realization of how much this moment mattered. "What do you mean?" she found herself asking, her curiosity pushing through the initial shock. Mr. Johnson met her gaze, and Clara noticed there was a hint of vulnerability crackling just beneath his composed exterior. "I want to fund community projects, art programs, workshops, anything that helps these voices be heard. I might not understand the brushstrokes, but I know that together we can paint a better future." Cheers erupted again, shaking the very walls of the venue. Clara felt a wave of relief wash over her, a mixture of joy and disbelief. This wasn't just an offering, it was an acknowledgement of their shared humanity. The barriers that had seemed so insurmountable moments before began to fade. But just as Clara felt her heart open wide, a flicker of doubt stung at her. Could he truly comprehend what their stories meant? Could his intentions withstand the scrutiny of a community that had long learned to tread carefully around promises? "Thank you," Clara managed to say, her voice steady. "But we need more than just funding. We need to share stories, to build connections, not just transactions." Her eyes held his, searching for sincerity among the uncertainties. "Yes. You're right," he responded, the shadow of a smile breaking through. "I want to do more than just write checks. I want to listen." The crowd erupted in encouragement again, and Clara's heart swelled. This was a new beginning, perhaps the start of something transformational. But even as hope blossomed, nagging doubts hung heavy in the air. Were they ready for this leap? Would Mr. Johnson truly commit to the long and often messy road ahead? As Clara stepped down from the stage, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. She approached him, open to exploring whatever this evolving partnership could bring. Maybe it was the right timing. Maybe they could surprise each other as they ventured into the unknown. But in the back of her mind lingered the question of trust. Would he really commit to their vision beyond just funding? As she approached, she felt the weight of both possibility and uncertainty tether her heart down. What was the next step in this journey, and would they truly find a way to build a community that celebrated the stories within each of them? The possibilities spun through her mind like a whirlwind, making her feel alive and terrified all at once. Would this newfound partnership solidify itself, or would it crumble under the pressures of a reality they couldn't yet grasp? Clara's heart was racing as she moved toward Mr. Johnson. The energy in the room thrummed like a live wire, yet Clara felt a strange stillness settle within her. The cheers and laughter faded into a distant echo as she locked eyes with him. This was the moment where dreams could either start to take shape or dissolve back into the ether. "Mr. Johnson," she began, her voice steady but laced with urgency, "we're not just looking for your money, we're asking for your heart. We need to know you care about the stories behind the art." He nodded slowly, the lines of his face deepening with thought. I get that. But how do we do that? How do we create something deeper?" His vulnerability shone through, and Clara felt the air shift. Maybe he genuinely wanted to understand. "Let us start with a community event," she proposed, excitement bubbled within her. "We can invite artists and locals share their stories through their work. It would be a real collaboration." A spark ignited in his eyes, drawing Clara in further. "That sounds amazing. How soon can we get started?" The eagerness in his voice lifted the weight of her skepticism, leaving a glimmer of hope in its place. They began to outline their vision right there, with Clara sketching ideas in the air while Mr. Johnson listened intently. For every suggestion she threw out, he built upon it. The crowd around them began to buzz again, eagerly leaning in, waiting for more. Clara felt a connection forming, not just between her and Mr. Johnson, but within the entire community as they became part of this emerging narrative. But moments later, the thoughtful comfort was pierced when someone from the crowd called out. "What do we tell the critics? The people who doubt his intentions?" Clara's heart sank for a moment, the reality of their situation crashing down. Trust was earned, not given, and the scars of broken promises ran deep. She glanced at Mr. Johnson, who appeared unfazed. "I'll show them," he said firmly, his voice steady. "Let us put it all on display. Transparency is key. Let us open our doors and let the community watch how this unfolds. I'll listen to each voice." A wave of murmurs swept through the audience. Clara felt their skepticism, but also a flicker of belief. He was offering to share the stage, inviting them into the process. Perhaps, just perhaps, this was the leap they all needed. As Clara looked around, she saw hope and anxiety intertwined in the expressions of those gathered. She caught a whisper of uncertainty grow into an overwhelming consensus that they could emerge from this situation transformed. "We stand together. We can build something amazing," she encouraged, the words pouring out of her with newfound conviction. But deep inside, the questions remained. What if the transparency he promised turned into another layer of shadows? What if trust was just another way to get his foot in the door? Could her heart endure another disappointment? As the meeting drew to a close, Clara felt both excitement and trepidation intertwining. She exchanged contact information with Mr. Johnson, a tangible sign of what was to come. But as she made her way out of the venue, the doubts crept back in like an unwelcome guest. Would they truly navigate the intricacies of their different worlds? Or would this partnership struggle against the very differences that brought them to this moment? More pressing still, where would this journey of connection lead them, toward revelation, or bitter reality? The next phase loomed before her, full of questions and unknowns. Clara took a deep breath, letting the tension settle in her chest. As she stepped outside, she knew it was just the beginning. What awaited them all as they embarked on this path? Would faith and perseverance be enough to bridge the gulf? The streets outside were alive with a pulsing rhythm, the laughter of children, the distant growl of engines, and the warm chatter of neighbors. Clara took a moment to soak it all in. This was home, yet today felt different, charged with possibility. She tightened her grip on her sketchbook like it was a lifeline, knowing every idea she had could either inspire or lead to a greater disappointment. Still battling the doubts swirling in her mind, Clara headed to the local coffee shop, a small haven where she often sought solace. The bell above the door jingled cheerfully as she walked in, the aroma of fresh coffee wrapping around her like a comforting hug. She spotted an empty table by the window and settled down, allowing the world outside to fade momentarily. As she sipped her coffee, her phone buzzed. Mr. Johnson's name lit up the screen. Her heart quickened, the flutter of nerves mingling with anticipation. She opened the message, a mixture of excitement and dread prickling at the back of her mind. "Let us meet tomorrow at the gallery. I want to talk more about the event." She stared at the words, imagining the possibilities. They needed to connect not just through plans, but through stories. Could they really inspire others to believe in this venture? The warmth of the coffee faded against the chill of her uncertainty. The last thing she wanted was to drag the community into yet another failed promise. Just as the doubts threatened to consume her, a little girl at a nearby table yanked Clara back to reality. The girl's mother was trying, unsuccessfully, to get her to settle down, but the child's imagination was uncontainable. She was weaving an elaborate tale about a giant who saved the village from a storm. Clara couldn't help but smile. The innocence and passion in the girl's eyes reminded her how stories could ignite hope, bridging the gap between different lives. That's what the event needed, a core of genuine storytelling. It wasn't just about art, it was about connection, understanding, and healing. After finishing her drink, Clara pulled out her sketchbook again. She flipped to a fresh page and sketched a rough layout for the community event. Booths lined with artwork, kids telling tales, older folks sharing their histories, laughter filling the air. The vision came alive under her pencil, and for the first time since she departed with Mr. Johnson, excitement clawed at her insides. As she stood to leave, her heart swelled with determination. Tomorrow's meeting would be crucial. She needed to remind him that this wasn't just his venture, it was theirs, a tapestry woven from shared experiences and voices. But just then, a shadow flickered across her path. It was someone she knew all too well, Emily, a childhood friend who had distanced herself after Clara had come back to town. The rift between them had never fully healed, and the sight of her now stirred up complicated feelings. "Clara?" Emily's voice was cautious but soft, a mixture of surprise and apprehension. Their eyes locked, and Clara felt a swell of mixed emotions. Years had gone by, and the weight of their past loomed heavily between them. Did she dare reach out for reconciliation, or would this moment crumble into more hurt and disappointment? "Hi, Emily," Clara said, her pulse racing. "It's been a while." With a hesitant smile, Emily took a step forward. "Can we talk?" In that moment, Clara realized the journey wasn't just about the event. It had to start with healing the connections in her own life. But would she be brave enough to confront this past? As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue across the streets, Clara felt a flicker of hope. "Yes," she said, giving her old friend a nod. "I'd like that." Tomorrow's meeting loomed, but today, the past's shadows were at her heels, whispering secrets she thought she had buried. Would facing one past help illuminate the path ahead? Clara hesitated as she watched Emily take a seat across from her. The ambience of the cafe felt abruptly transformed, shifting from a sanctuary to a stage where their history loomed large. It wasn't just coffee that brewed in the air, there was a bitter mix of old wounds and unresolved feelings simmering just below the surface. "So, how have you been?" Emily's voice was soft, almost tentative. She fidgeted with her hands, glancing around as if searching for the right words in the spiraling steam of the coffee cups. Clara took a breath, steadying herself. "Good, I guess. Just trying to make sense of everything." She didn't want to dive too deep yet. The fear of exposing her vulnerabilities reached back to their shared past. The small table felt too intimate, yet too far removed from the world outside. Emily studied her, eyes revealing a mix of curiosity and something resembling regret. "I saw your sketches online. They're amazing. I always knew you had it in you." "Thanks," Clara murmured, warmth creeping up her cheeks. "I'm working on a community art event hoping to bring people together." She paused, weighing her next words. "It's been tough, though. You know how these things go." Emily's expression shifted. "I do. I know how we can be our own worst enemies." Her voice cracked slightly, as if she felt the weight of that truth herself. A silence stretched between them, thick and almost suffocating. Clara could feel her heart racing again, each beat echoing the fears she had long buried. What had kept them apart for so long? Memories of laughter, shared secrets, and dreams swirled in Clara's mind, reminders of what they once had. Finally, Clara ventured, "I didn't expect to see you here today. I didn't think I'd have the courage to come back, either," Emily interrupted gently. There was a glimmer of hope in her eyes, as if they were both sharing a fragile understanding. "Things changed for me, too. I moved away for a while, tried to escape all the reminders." "Escape?" Clara echoed, feeling a pang of empathy. "What do you mean?" Emily hesitated, then a small smile broke through. "Just needed to find my own way. But now I see how running away only created distance. I missed the connection we had." Clara's heart fluttered. Maybe it wasn't too late. "I missed that, too." She felt a rush of relief, a lightness in her chest. Opening this door felt like turning a key that had rusted with time. "We were closer than anyone. I always wondered if you'd come back." "I didn't know if you'd want me back," Emily said, vulnerability lacing her words. The way things ended, it just felt complicated. Those final words hung heavy in the air, an acknowledgement of their fractured bond. For a moment, Clara's thoughts spiraled, recalling the countless times they had hurt each other unintentionally. But just as quickly, she pushed the memories aside. They had a chance now. "It doesn't have to be complicated anymore," Clara offered, her voice steady. "I want us to be friends again, even if we have to take it slow." Emily's eyes brightened, glistening like sunlight after a storm. "Really? That means so much." Clara smiled, her spirit lightening with each exchanged word. They began to create a new tapestry of friendship, slowly stitching together shared stories and laughter. For the first time, they were not just neighbors on separate paths but intertwined threads in a larger fabric. As they finished their coffee, discussing art and dreams, Clara realized how much she had longed for this connection to stand united instead of scattered by the past. The bell jangled again as another customer entered, the familiar sound filling the air. But this time, it didn't trigger memories of loneliness, it resonated with the hope of new beginnings. "Let us make a plan," Clara said suddenly. Maybe we can collaborate on the art event? I'd love your input. Eyes sparkling, Emily leaned in. I'd love that. This could be our chance to heal, not just for us, but for our community, too. The possibilities hung like bastions of light between them. Clara felt a warmth in her chest, a hesitant but blossoming joy. But just as she began to imagine their next steps, a frown creased Emily's brow. Wait, Clara, what about the meeting with Mr. Johnson tomorrow? Emily asked. Are you nervous? Clara's smile faltered slightly as she remembered the weight of that responsibility. I am. But maybe this time, with us together, it won't feel so daunting. With a newfound sense of purpose flickering in her heart, Clara couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. What if their reunion had more to reveal? What could they uncover together that might just reshape their futures? She glanced at Emily, their shared smiles marking the dawn of something promising. But as the conversation flowed, another question surfaced, nagging insistently in the depths of her mind. Would facing that meeting bring more clarity, or would it lead to another conflict that threatened their renewed bond? Clara left the cafe with Emily by her side, a sense of warmth radiating between them as they stepped into the brisk air. The world felt charged with possibility, a canvas waiting for their strokes. Yet, nestled in Clara's heart was the insistent weight of the meeting looming ahead. I can't believe we're actually doing this, Emily said, her breath creating little puffs in the cold. Her cheeks glowed with excitement as they walked down the street, side by side. Doing what exactly? Clara teased, trying to ease her nerves. Rebuilding our friendship. Collaborating. The art event. Emily spun around, her arms wide as if she could embrace the idea itself. Clara chuckled, allowing a glimmer of anticipation to surface. True, true. Let us not forget about my imminent doom with Mr. Johnson. Emily's laughter chimed, a musical sound that echoed down the street. You've got this. Think about all those sketches you showed me. You believe in your art, just channel that confidence. Easier said than done, Clara muttered, her own conviction wavering. Though the thought of their renewed friendship felt like a lifeline, stepping into the world of art and community action also tethered her to past failures. What if he shuts me down? What if it's the same old routine? The doubt seeped through Clara's resolve, mingling with the hopeful excitement of the moment. Then you try again. You know you're skilled, and you aren't alone anymore, Emily said softly. You have me now. Clara turned to look at her, feeling something shift inside. Emily's words weren't just comforting, they felt like a bridge to the future. Yeah, I guess I just need a little faith, she replied. They arrived at Clara's apartment, a small art-filled sanctuary that had welcomed countless thoughts and sleepless nights. The familiar space felt different now, infused with a new energy as she unlocked the door. Let us go through your presentation. I want to hear everything, Emily declared, stepping inside and immediately losing herself among the sketches that dotted the walls. Clara sat on the couch, allowing Emily's enthusiasm to wash over her. All right. Here goes nothing. As she began explaining her vision, Clara noticed Emily's rapt attention. Each passing minute, Clara's words transformed from nervous tremors into a flowing river of ideas, filled with the potential of community engagement and artistry. If we encourage involvement, maybe we can spark a revival in the neighborhood. Clara's heart raced with the thrill of hope and vision blending. Emily grinned, her excitement palpable. See? You have all these brilliant ideas just waiting to be shared. Your passion is contagious. But as they strategized, something nagged at Clara. What if their past shadows loomed heavier than she hoped? What if opening up this door led to echoes of their old wounds? Just as she pondered this, Emily's phone buzzed. Sorry, I can't miss this, Emily said apologetically, glancing at her screen. Her face fell slightly when she read the message. Everything okay? Clara asked, her teeth sinking into her lower lip. Just an old friend. I was hoping for a distraction tonight. Emily's voice dipped, the excitement dimming. Clara caught the hint of pain in Emily's eyes. Is it about the past? I guess we all have things we run from, Emily murmured, an enigmatic sadness coating her words. Clara could sense the familiar tension creeping back into their conversation. Before Clara could respond, Emily straightened up, shaking it off. But enough about me. Your meeting. Let us prepare some last-minute notes together now. The warmth returned, yet Clara felt the flickering uncertainty. Would this collaboration truly mend their fractured relationship, or would they stumble over ghosts from their past? As they delved back into brainstorming, Clara caught glimpses of the burden Emily carried, the pieces of a puzzle she was yet to understand. Are you worried about anything else tomorrow? Emily asked, glancing up. Clara's heart quickened. You mean besides the meeting? There's got to be something more, something deeper, Emily replied. Studying Clara's face. Clara hesitated as a rush of honesty threatened to spill. Was she ready to unravel those threads? But before she could answer, a sudden knock at the door startled them. Clara's heart raced, and she felt the ground shift beneath her. Who could it be? Emily shot Clara a look of surprise as they exchanged confused glances. Just as Clara approached the door, she couldn't shake the feeling that this interruption might lead to answers neither of them expected. What awaited her on the other side? Would it be a newfound strength or another fracture in their slowly rebuilding friendship? Clara hesitated, her hand hovering over the doorknob, heart pounding in anticipation. What if the encounter would unravel everything they had just begun to stitch back together? Clara took a deep breath, her hand trembling slightly as it lingered over the doorknob. The knock sounded again, urgent and insistent. She glanced back at Emily, whose curious expression mirrored her own jitters. They both stood poised, caught in a moment that felt suspended in time. Are you going to open it? Emily urged, barely concealing her intrigue. Yeah, just give me a second, Clara replied, summoning every ounce of courage she had. With a quick exhale, she turned the knob and swung the door open. Standing there was a figure she never expected to see: Marcus, her childhood friend from down the street. His hair was longer than she remembered, his face slightly more lined, but those familiar warm eyes still shimmered with the spark of mischief she loved. They had lost touch over the years, drifting with the tides of life, but Clara felt a rush of nostalgia and hope surge through her. Marcus? She gasped, her heart racing. Clara. Wow, it's been ages. His grin spread wide, enveloping her in a wave of warmth. I just got back into town and thought I'd drop by to see how you're doing. The last traces of uncertainty fell away. Clara stepped aside to let him in, and he instantly filled the small apartment with his vibrant energy. Emily's expression morphed into surprise before breaking into a smile. What a welcome surprise. Hey, Emily. You too. Marcus exclaimed, shifting his focus from Clara to her friend. Clara watched as their easy connection sparked, a thread of camaraderie pulling them together. So, what brings you back? Are you here for the holidays? Emily asked, leaning against the kitchen counter, her curiosity piqued. Something like that. I'm working on a project here, and it just happened to align with my visit, he said, pulling a folding chair out at the dining table where Clara often sketched her dreams on paper. Clara felt a wave of gratitude. Marcus was not just an old friend, he was a piece of her past that now felt like a lifeline. But the excitement rushed in with its own set of questions. What did his return mean for her? Tell us all about it. Clara urged, pulling up a chair next to him. A strange sense of normalcy settled among them, like fallen leaves swirling in a gentle breeze. As Marcus launched into his story, detailing an art initiative aimed at rejuvenating forgotten neighborhoods, Clara felt her heart smile at the serendipity of the moment. That's incredible, she said, excitement weaving through her words. Just like what we're trying to do. Emily leaned in, her eyes sparkling. You could collaborate. Imagine the possibilities. Clara's stomach fluttered at the idea. Wouldn't it be phenomenal if their interests lined up? But a shadow of doubt also flickered just beneath her excitement. But what if he doesn't want to work with us? Clara whispered under her breath, too soft for anyone to hear. Who wouldn't want to work with you? Emily said, sensing Clara's hesitation. You've got passion, and this is your moment, Clara. Suddenly, a flicker of determination ignited in Clara. You know what? Let us do it. Marcus, can we invite you to our meeting tomorrow? You could share your vision and we'll share ours. The prospect of collaboration felt electric, alive with an energy that coursed through the room. Marcus's eyes widened with genuine surprise and a hint of intrigue. Count me in, he said, his excitement matching Clara's. As they delved into more details about the project, Clara realized how much she longed for this to create, to connect, and to heal the past wounds that had shadowed her. The air buzzed with enthusiasm, an empowering thread weaving their friendship anew. But as they strategized, Clara's mind flickered back to Emily's earlier sadness. The harmony felt fragile, tinged with unspoken questions. Was it naive to think they could all just move forward without addressing those lingering shadows? As the conversation flowed, she snuck a glance at Emily, who was bent over a notebook, drawing fervently. Beneath the surface of excitement, Clara sensed there were still parts of their friendship yet to be explored. Hey, we should celebrate this connection, Clara suggested, her heart leaping with hope. Let us do dinner together after the meeting. It'll be like old times. Emily nodded, enthusiasm lighting up her face. Yet Clara couldn't shake the feeling that they were traversing on the edge of something deeper, something that would either bind them closer together or reveal more of their past that needed healing. Clara's thoughts swirled. What were the odds that Marcus's reappearance would weave through the fabric of her life just as she sought connection? But as the laughter carried through the room, an unfamiliar dread curled in her stomach. Would inviting Marcus into this space shine light on their old wounds and perhaps release some new truths? As she wrestled with the possibilities, the doorbell rang again, startling the trio. Clara's heart raced once more. Who could it be this time? What fresh revelations awaited them on the other side? Clara stood frozen for a moment before sprinting to the door, her pulse racing. With a deep breath, she threw it open, revealing a familiar face that sent ripples of confusion and warmth coursing through her. It was Miles, her son, standing there with a bouquet of wildflowers clenched in his hands. Mom! He exclaimed, his face lighting up with an exuberant smile. I wanted to surprise you. Clara's heart swelled, tears threatening to spill at the unexpected joy flooding her senses. She knelt down, wrapping him in a tight embrace. Oh, my sweet Miles. You don't know how much I've missed you. Emily and Marcus exchanged glances, their expressions shifting from disbelief to delight, as if witnessing a reunion that pulled at the strings of their own hearts. Are those for me? Clara teased, breaking the embrace but still holding his hands tight. Yeah. They reminded me of the colors in your paintings. I thought you could use some brightness. He grinned, making Clara chuckle through her misty eyes. As she took the flowers, Clara felt buoyed by the support encircling them, each bond strengthening like freshly sewn stitches in an intricate quilt. In that moment, she caught the glances of her friends, their warmth propelling her to seek something further. I'm so proud of you, buddy, she said, her voice tightening with emotion. I'm about to have a big meeting about an art initiative we are doing for the community. Want to join us? Can I? His eyes widened with excitement, the thought of being part of something bigger than himself igniting a spark she had longed to see in him. Of course. Come in. Clara ushered him inside, her heart aglow with a sense of fullness as he settled next to her at the table. The conversation flowed, with Emily and Marcus breathing life into Clara's vision. They spoke animatedly about the ways to engage the community, making sure everyone's voice was included. Miles's input was as colorful as the bouquet he had brought, and Clara was amazed at how wise and creative his young perspective was. They brainstormed names, ideas, and attractions for the art event, laughter spilling across the room like colors on canvas. But beneath the thrill of the moment, Clara felt the weight of unaddressed fears lurking in the corners. She caught Emily's eye, a silent reminder that even in this beautiful flow, deeper troubles lingered, old histories that demanded to be reckoned with. "Let us dig deeper," Clara finally said, her voice softer as she shifted the atmosphere. "Tonight is about all of us, but we can't just move forward without addressing what we've been through." The energy in the room shifted slightly, the laughter fading as they turned to Clara. "What do you mean?" Marcus asked, genuine curiosity in his tone. "Emily and I," Clara began, but Miles, sensing the tension, interjected. "Did I do something wrong?" He looked worried, his hands fidgeting with the bouquet. "No, not at all," Clara assured him. "You're perfect. It's just that sometimes, even as friendships grow, old patterns can creep back in." Emily nodded slowly, her gaze dropping as if reflecting on their unspoken distance. "I think we all carry parts of our past with us," she agreed. "And I've seen how they affect our present. I want us to strengthen this bond, but it's not just about moving forward, it's also about healing what was broken." Clara took a deep breath, her heart pounding. "It's about being honest and vulnerable, isn't it? I think we owe it to each other to move past the hurt and face the reality of what has shaped us." Miles looked between them, confusion replaced with budding understanding. "It's okay to feel sad, right?" he asked, his voice serious but filled with a childlike honesty that struck Clara deep. "I don't like it, but it happens. We just talk about it." "Yes, exactly." Clara beamed at him, pride swelling in her chest. "That's exactly it. If we're going to face this together, we have to be open about everything, even the hard stuff." As Clara's words settled in, a softness spread through the room. It was their moment of reckoning. Each of them had backgrounds to reveal, stories to share, and trust to build. She felt a tight knot inside her gradually loosening. "So, Emily," Marcus prompted, "what is something you think we should address? I feel that sense of hesitation sitting with you tonight." With a gentle sigh, Emily lifted her head, determination etched on her features. "I've realized that my own insecurities have kept me from fully showing up for this friendship. I distanced myself when you started rising in your craft, Clara, and I didn't want to admit how much I envied that. I thought it would be easier to step away rather than confront my own fears." Clara felt the weight of each word. "I understand. I feared losing you while I was trying to push forward. It felt like I could never fully celebrate my future without feeling guilty about leaving you behind." The honesty pulled them closer. Miles sat attentive, absorbing the profound conversation unfolding around him. The room hums with understanding, like a gentle melody easing their tensions. "Sometimes I feel like I'm painting on a canvas with too few brushes," Clara said, emphasizing her feelings further. "Marcus, watching you return reminded me of how important it is to have more colors in our lives, no matter how complicated their strokes may be. Then let us bring each other out of those shadows." Marcus chimed in, feeling the energy spark back to life. "Let us inspire every latent dreamer, every artist who thinks they can't create as much as they want to. This event is not just about art, it's about connection." A chorus of agreement erupted, cascading joy that swirled around them like a perfect dance. The old wounds, though still tender, felt a little bit lighter, less of a burden and more like the background of their canvases, giving depth to what they were creating together. As the night rolled on, Clara felt hope thrive again, the shadows of their past drawn into the surrounding light of their new beginnings. With every shared story, laughter, and plan for the future, they actively painted a fabric of unity, a tightly woven tapestry stitched together with threads of trust. Clara glanced at Miles, his bright eyes full of wonder and acceptance, and then to Emily and Marcus, the silhouettes of their richer lives emerging right before her. "This is the start of something beautiful," Clara beamed, her heart swelling with conviction. The air buzzed with love, and it felt as if they had unlocked a door into a more profound journey, a journey forged in connection, creativity, and renewed friendship. Tomorrow loomed with a promise. It would be a chance for new beginnings, building the foundation they all needed. Clara squeezed Miles's hand, his eyes twinkling with excitement, as she lifted her gaze to the friends that now felt more like family. "Let us do this," Clara declared, a radiant smile spreading across her face. And with that powerful sense of unity, they stepped forward together, ready to embrace whatever awaited them just over the horizon. And now, as you feel the warmth of this ending wrap around you, it's time for you to embrace transformation. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire and connect us. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let the world know that stories like Clara's matter. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. How did it touch your heart? Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. You need to show your support, so don't wait not even one more second to share.